Hi, I'm George Cox for Business Matters, a show dedicated to promoting businesses and organizations for the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce. Today, my in-studio guest is Pastor Tim Knapp and Mike Tobia of Mount Calvary Community Supper. Thanks for being here at the studio today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Tell us how the Community Supper got started and why.
This started about 5 years ago. There hadn't been a community supper in Acton for some time, and some of the members of Mount Calvary who had helped feed the hungry in the past just were convinced that there was still a need. And so we formed a team at the church. We decided that there would be more than a goal of just feeding the hungry. We also wanted to address what we thought was social isolation in the community. Many of the people who come to our supper now really see nobody else during the day. They're elderly, they live alone. So we wanted to address the social isolation. And we also wanted this supper to feel not like a soup line. We wanted it to feel like a family dinner. And so we really began to craft an idea about having a supper that felt like home to people. Feed the hungry, alleviate social isolation, and that was sort of the impetus for the whole thing.
And what was great, we were out there yesterday, and it's such a beautiful space. And I met an elderly couple who just go out there to socialize, which I think is wonderful. The gentleman who used to be an engineer, who's from MIT, was like very computer savvy. So what is, I know you have so much food there and produce and things that people can take home. What is your source of funding?
Well, the original funding was a generous grant from the Acton-Boxborough United Way. They helped a lot. The church itself was instrumental with funding at the beginning. But funding has kind of evolved since then. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit more about how that happens?
So funding, we really separate funding into two different areas, one of which you saw yesterday. So we get an awful lot of donations or gifts in kind. We have great relationships with local farmers, as you saw yesterday. We have tremendous relationships with local businesses as well. And quite frankly, all the churches and many businesses in Acton are part of our funding. We also fill out grants, like most nonprofits do every year, to places like Acton-Boxborough United Way, the Boston Food Bank, companies like Shaw's, Stop and Shop, Hannaford. They've all been big sponsors to us.
And we were there yesterday, and you had so many people in the kitchen getting everything ready. We got shots of you slicing the roasted pork. And what does it entail just to get supper ready for 75 or 100 people? Well,
we really started, we have teams to make things simple, kind of week 1 through week 4. What you saw yesterday was the cook team. What you don't see is kind of behind the scenes. There's a setup team that comes, because as Tim indicated, we feel very strongly about having our supper be more than just a soup kitchen. So on purpose, we do some small things that we think mean a lot. So as you first come in, we have a greeter. So folks who come into the church, and especially, for example, last night we had somebody brand new, didn't know where the supper was. So that greeter escorts them back and finds a location for them so that they're comfortable. We have an individual who every week comes in and sets flowers on all the tables. So that 16 vases go up. Then we have another individual that comes in and sets all the placemats up for us and decorates the table, as you saw yesterday. Then usually around 2, the cook team shows up, and we have a different cook team for each week, so that we don't get the wear out effect on the volunteers, because we are all volunteers. And then probably one of the hardest tasks for us to even get volunteers is the cleanup team. But we have great groups of folks that come in. And usually most of those jobs are 2-hour positions. As I indicated to you yesterday, some of the meals are a little bit more complex, like yesterday, for example, where the cooks will work about 3 hours to get that meal ready. But we're all volunteer. We have 65 to 70 volunteers. On average, we go through 25 to 30 volunteer hours every single week. That equates over 5,000 volunteer hours a year. So we're very, very fortunate to have a tremendous group of people.
One of the exciting things about the supper is it's not just Mount Calvary Lutheran Church, it's a partnership with the community. So when we started the supper, we realized we weren't big enough to keep this going at a level of excellence we wanted. And so we were very intentional about inviting the community to help with this. And so of these volunteers, probably 2/3 are from the community, 1/3 are from the church. And we love that. We just love the fact that we're all kind of joining hands to make a difference for our town.
And how does it feel just making a difference? Because you're volunteering so much of your time and giving back to the community, and I think we need more of that these days.
Well, it's a fantastic feeling. And one of the things we wanted to do when we started the supper is not just serve these people food, we wanted to sit with them and eat. So a number of us make a commitment, and for example, I'm there every Wednesday night when I'm in town, and I'm sitting at a different table, and I listen to the stories, and I share the pain. And people know that I'm the pastor by now, they know who I am. And so I'll have people come up and say to me, Pastor, I've got this thing going on, would you pray for me? And that's not necessarily something that I would do, but if they ask me, of course I would do that. And we go off to a quiet place, and they share their story. So there are a lot of people at the supper who are there just to have compassion and to listen and to care for the people who come.
And it's every Wednesday night, and if someone's new, maybe they haven't been to the community supper before, what would you like to tell them? Because I know some people might feel intimidated to go. I know you make everybody feel very welcome there. What would you like to say to somebody who would like to come down?
We think it starts with a very warm, open environment, as well as our guests are very welcoming. I'll tell you one story also. You saw how we had the tables set up. Well, probably after our first year, one of the individuals came up with the idea, why don't we make this look more like a restaurant and separate the tables? And I said, sure, let's try that. Well, as soon as the guests came in, because they enjoy the camaraderie of seeing each other and sitting with each other, everybody was looking around, what happened? What happened? So, of course, the very next week, we set the tables up exactly the same way, because it's the chance to meet with they meet with their friends every Wednesday. And we're proud of the fact that we have, we don't start serving until about 5 o'clock, as you saw yesterday, and we finish at 6, but we have guests who arrive, and we call them guests. So we have guests that arrive at 3:30, and last night we had guests that stayed well past 6:30, 7 o'clock. So they enjoy themselves.
And tell us about, I know people can take some of the great produce, because when I was walking in, I saw some produce, and tell us about some of the sponsors of the food that donate to Mount
Sure.
Calvary
A
Community
personal
Center.
favorite of mine that Mike knows about is Panera Bread. Gives us their leftover bread and cookies. So Mike always leaves a cookie out for me, which is nice. But most of this bread ends up in the hands of our guests. And so they can pick up a loaf of bread or bagels, or a lot of the cookies get served at the meal for dessert. So that's one of our great sponsors that have been very much helping us all the way through.
Yeah, we also have a relationship with the Boston Food Bank, quite frankly, and that's an extremely important one to us. They tend to supply about 35% of our food. We pick up from them once a month. We also, what you saw yesterday is we just started a relationship with the Food Project in Lincoln. So all our fresh produce, and this week was tremendous, for example, in terms of tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers. And guests they know that it's there, they help themselves, and they really appreciate the fresh vegetables.
So if people come down to Mount Calvary Community Supper, on your way out, you can grab some great produce and just take it with you. Correct. And cook it at home. It's awesome. What's it like just being a part of the Taste of Middlesex this year for the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce?
First, you should know that we've been fortunate in the past because we've had 3 of our volunteers were acknowledged by Middlesex as Volunteers of the Year. So we're very thankful that we were able to be awarded those. But our theme is filling plates with food and friendship. So we still feel as though within the community that there's a tremendous upside for folks to learn more about the community supper. We feel like we've certainly done a great job with folks like the Beacon and other
Here at ActonTV.
and ActonTV. But we've got a long way to go. And I would tell you, there's if we have time, there's two sources that lead us to believe there's still a huge gap. For example, so as indicated, we have 75 to our high number is 110 guests have shown up. But there's two studies that are fairly important to Acton. One was done by actually the Boston Food Bank. It indicated that 6% of the population in Acton Boxborough, felt food insecure. So that 6% number is 1,200 individuals. So there's still that huge gap. The second study was done by the Acton Boxborough United Way. And they did a study, and it was really broken down by families with children, elderly. And the elderly came back and said, growing by 50% every year. They said, we spend an inordinate amount of our money on our home and on food. So we still feel two things. We do feel this social isolation, and we do feel food insecurity is a big issue to us. Same thing was with families with children, that they felt because of the high cost of living in Acton, that there was still an issue relative to food insecurity. So we feel like with the supper, especially with our mission, as Pastor indicated, our mission is to alleviate hunger and social isolation. It fits those two studies perfectly.
Yeah, you're filling the gap, which I think is great. If people want more information, they do it every Wednesday night at Mount Calvary Church here in Acton. What is the website?
It's www.mtcalvaryacton.org. We'd get you to the church website, and there are links for the supper at the website.
And you have a Facebook?
And we have a Facebook that's linked also right to that location.
We'd like to thank you for what you do for the community and your support. It's a wonderful service that you provide here in Acton.
ActonTV had a chance to visit Mount Calvary Community Supper to talk to some of the wonderful volunteers who bring nutritious meals to the community every week.
George Cox for ActonTV. We are here at Mount Calvary Community Supper with Rose Sayre. We just walked in and the kitchen's very busy. Tell us what's going on here.
So this is a typical prep for community supper. Today we've got volunteers from the South Acton Congregational Church, and they're here to prepare everything. And every meal has a fresh salad and vegetables and meat, so you're going to see all of that happening behind. All the volunteers come in usually around 2. And they're doing all the food prep till about 4:30.
And who is this available to, the community supper? Is everybody in Acton is welcome here? And what nights do you do it?
A no qualification, everyone is welcome here. If you want to join supper because you're just trying to make ends meet, or it's a busy day and you've got little kids and it's tight for you to get home, but the real thing that happens here is people come for the community. They come to meet people. They can be maybe they're living isolated or they don't get out much. So it's a real mix. There's seniors, there's families, there's people in their 30s, but anyone can come.
So it's a great chance for people in the community just to meet other people, come out and mingle and have a great meal.
It is absolutely that, but of course, first and foremost, it's for people who are looking to come in and get a nutritious meal at a time during the week when they might not otherwise be able to do so.
And what days of the week do you have the dinner here?
This is every Wednesday, and it goes all year. There's only, I think, ever been one break to do some repairs in the kitchen. And in addition to that, Mount Calvary also does holiday meals at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they go out into the community. Go ahead.
And we were out there earlier, and it seems like a huge space. How many people do you feed at a time?
You know, it varies, and I don't know that we know the formula, but typically we average between 70 and 80 people a week. Last week it was about 90. It's been as many as 100. And depending upon how much food there is here, people sometimes are able to take meals home with them.
So I want to talk to Ben. Now, Ben, you've been volunteering here at Mount Calvary Community Supper since you were in 8th grade. What grade are you in now?
I'm going to be a freshman in college in a couple days.
So how has it been just volunteering since such a young age until now going to college?
It's been great. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of great people. It's been a really good experience for me.
What do you think you'll learn, like, moving forward, coming into, you're coming into being an adult? What have you learned from this experience?
I learned how important it is to help your community because there are a lot of people who need it.
Well, we appreciate it, definitely. And tell us, Betty, what do you do here?
Well, I cook.
You cook? I bet you're a good cook.
I've been cooking for about 45, 50 years. A long time, yeah.
Tell us about the menu. I know you have various menus. You have Thanksgiving. Rose was telling me. What is on the menu tonight?
Tonight we're having roast pork, potatoes, applesauce, everything that goes with it. Salad, sauerkraut. Oh, we're having sauerkraut too. I just learned about that. And every week it's different. We have different foods. A lot of it's donated. A lot of food is donated, so we use up whatever they give us. We make everything from meatballs to you name it, we have it.
Business Matters will be back with Dr. Lynn Carlson and Dr. Brian Sass of ChiroPro Performance Center.
We're at True West Brewing Company, located in Acton, Massachusetts, 525 Massachusetts Avenue. We have brewery on site. The 4 that we have here today are the Colonial Gold, the Pumpkin Riot, which is a pumpkin ale, spiced ale, Ruckus IPA, which is our top seller, and the Brown Bess, which is our American Brown Ale.
I'm Deborah O'Kelly, and our business is Golden Girl Granola. We make it in Shirley, Mass, and the thing that makes our granola special is that it's crunchy, wholesome, and delicious. We sell in a lot of local stores. You'll find us in a lot of the Whole Foods, Donnellan's, Crosby's, small specialty stores, and Roach Brothers.
Concord Tea Cakes is a bakery located in West Concord. Today we brought with us our lavender lemonade cupcakes and a peppermint crunch chocolate cupcake.
You see we have some beautiful cake designs that we can do for you upon request. So come on down, check out our dessert menu and place your order.
The Outlook Restaurant at Neshoba Valley Ski Area. We do functions both for winter when we might be out there snowboarding or snow tubing, and then the Outlook Restaurant and Lounge can cater your event. We specialize in steaks, seafood, and pasta. We do cocktail parties, luncheons, and dinners. Hope to see you there or out on the slopes at Neshoba Valley Ski Area at the Outlook Restaurant.
We are from the Curry House, the new upcoming restaurant in Chelmsford. We'll be located in 313 Littleton Road. This is our second location. The first one is in Franklin. Check us out in the www.thecurryhouse.com for more details and opening dates. Looking forward to serve you. Thank you.
Welcome back to Business Matters. Our in-studio guests are Dr. Lynn Carlson and Dr. Brian Sass of ChiroPro Performance Center in the Concussion Center of Massachusetts right here in Acton. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, George.
So tell us about, you have a new venture that you've put together, the Concussion Center of Massachusetts. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, ChiroPro Performance Center has been here in Acton for 5 years, and we realize there's a need in the community for specifically concussion rehabilitation, not only during the acute stage, but also to get people back to school, back to work, back to play. So the Concussion Center of Massachusetts is a subspecialty clinic within ChiroPro, and we're really focusing on the comprehensive and individualized approaches that people need with the mild traumatic brain injuries.
And what type of clients do you have?
Could be anyone that suffers a traumatic brain injury. That's the thing about concussion. It certainly isn't specific to any one group. It can be younger people learning a sport. It could be professional athletes who are seasoned in their activities, or it could be a car accident, a slip and fall. There's many different ways people suffer a traumatic brain injury.
So you have a concussion recovery program. Tell us about that.
Sure, that's more the immediate focus where we want to get people stable. We want to promote what's called neuroplasticity to really get the neural pathways back connected and feeling having the person feeling better. That initial brain fog, headache, dizziness, a lot of the things that come with that early onset concussion, those are the things we want to focus on during the recovery program. And then after that, once they're stable, then we have those other services where we're actually able to start training people, get them back to school, get them back to work, and get them back to sport with specific training.
And you have an extensive rehabilitation program as well. So.
Correct. We have everything from really passive activities that might be used early on when someone is more acute, and then as they're getting ready and making progress to do more and more things, we can push their activities, and we use everything from what's called interactive metronome, which is promoting neural timing within the nervous system, to an advanced athletic training system called FitLight, which is really working eye-hand coordination and getting that agility and the athlete better returning to play.
You know what's great about the FitLight program? I learned a lot that it's really great for hand-eye coordination, and also it's a great workout too.
Exactly. Well, one of the things that's so imperative before any athlete gets back on the field is they have to have their conditioning and they have to have their reflexes and coordination intact. It's a really important part of what we do. Part of the return to play is a progression that we take them through to make sure they're actually ready to be back on the field.
And ActonTV was at Teamworks Acton with an interview with Dr. Lynn Carlson about the FitLight program, and we had like a little demonstration of what it does and how it can help. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back with Business Matters. We are here at Teamworks next to ChiroPro Performance Center right here in Acton. We want you to stay fit and healthy, and we're here with Dr. Lynn Carlson. Now, you just did this demonstration with lights. It looked like a great workout. Tell us a little bit about what this was.
Sure. At ChiroPro Performance Center, we help a lot of athletes recovering from concussion, and there's a phase of recovery called return to play. So it's really important that we get athletes back in a sport-specific environment. Reaction time, eye-hand coordination, and anything that's going to get them moving with proper balance is really going to help them fully recover from a concussion and be able to return to sport.
Excellent. And this is something a little bit new. It's like a newer technology. You have the lights, shows really great hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, with athletes, it's so important in almost any sport. You have to have coordination of eye and hand, and the timing to coordinate all that is something that we can train. So we know we can train this, and so this is technology that now we can control how quickly we want them to respond. We can monitor their responses to what we're asking them to do, and we can really see progressions. We can see improvement over time.
Now you have a super duper intern here. What is her name?
This is Mira Stillman. She's a Division I collegiate athlete, and she's been training with the FitLight program, and she can share her experience.
Yeah, so you just had a great workout. We were filming her using some of this equipment. Tell us what it was like. You're sweating, by the way.
I'm absolutely sweating. FitLight is a great workout. It really pushes my hand-eye coordination. It pushes me to make fast reactions. As soon as the light goes, you have to be in motion. You can do stutter steps. You can do all kinds of footwork along with FitLight. It's a really great workout. It really pushes me.
Excellent. If people want more information, where could they find that?
Sure, our website is ChiroProPerformance.com. We're right here in Acton. We are at the Teamworks Acton facilities, which is a wonderful place to get any kind of athletic training or sports performance readiness taking place.
And if you want more information about the great things that ChiroPro Performance Center do here in Acton, you have a new TV show that you're going to be producing right here at ActonTV at our studios. Tell us about that.
Correct. We're doing Brain Health Series, and this is a community resource. We want people to know that we're here to give education, to give information, and just to be that community resource for anyone suffering from a concussion or any neurological-based condition. So Brain Health Series is going to be on ActonTV, and we look forward to sharing information, and if people have topics they want to know about, we're certainly open to suggestions.
And that show should be debuting soon. Make sure you check out ActonTV.org. It was really nice being at Teamworks Acton, right next to ChiroPro Performance Center. So they're a great neighbor of yours, just to see the FitLight program. Tell us about the diagnostic, the VNG testing that you do.
Definitely, that's the importance of looking at the eye or ocular motor function, and we do that both as part of the baseline, but also after there's been a concussion, because where you're going to see some evidence of neurological or brain injury is in eyes and the balance. So it's a really important part of our comprehensive assessment.
And what does VNG stand for, Brian?
So it stands for video nystagmography. So one point that I do want to emphasize is with concussions, almost always it's a disease process of function rather than structure. So it's important to have a CT scan or an MRI after a moderate to severe head injury, but usually they come back negative, and people are left with no answers as to how to get better, and they're left with their symptoms. So our intake testing, what it does is it tests the functioning of the brain. We give different tasks, different challenges, say, do this, don't do this, and we can assess if it's a normal function or if it's abnormal. Based on this testing, then we know what to do and how to plan our treatment based on those results.
And what advice would you like to give people who might be afraid to come in for an evaluation? You know, what would you like to say who see you now and say, you know, I might want to check it out? What would you like to say to them?
Well, it's good to have the information, whether it's a baseline just to learn about yourself, or people do get nervous. I understand that after they've had a concussion, but to have the information, just doing the examination allows us as doctors to then say what we find, what recommendations we can do to make a difference. And a lot of times we find it puts people at ease, because if it's a functional problem, that's good news. We know we can give you some training, we can do some things to interact with your brain. And if need be, if we need MRIs or CAT scans, we can always make sure we coordinate with our medical providers and get those tests as needed, but we won't know unless we do an examination. So it's always the best place just to at least start with that. Don't get ahead of ourselves until we know the information to base our treatment recommendations on.
Excellent. And you're always getting out in the community. You're doing a new show called the Brain Health Series. And what's it like just being a part of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, it's been great to me. Middlesex as a county is fairly large. We get a draw for many of our patients from all over the county. So just to be able to have an avenue where we are active in the community, we want to be a resource for people. If it's just a question about concussion or general health, certainly we're always open and available to do that. We do offer 15-minute courtesy consultations for people who are nervous or just want to see the office, maybe meet one of the doctors and just run through some basic things to see if they're a candidate for our kind of work.
And tell us, Dr. Brian Sass, about your new show, the Brain Health Series, because I know we've covered a lot of topics today. Your show goes more in depth of what we're talking about today. Tell us about the show.
Yeah, so what I try to do, since it's very complicated, since it's very complex, what I try to do is I try to take one aspect in the diagnosis, management, or treatment of concussions, and then I break it down. What does it mean? What does it do? How might you feel if this part of your brain is dysfunctional? And most importantly is, what can we offer you? How can we help you get your life back? How can we train that system to be more functional and integrate better in your brain? So each of those presentations, there's 6 of them total. Each one will take one specific topic and go in detail on that topic in the brain, treatment, and management of concussions.
Oh, well, we'd like to thank you for, you get a lot of great information. We got Brain Health Series coming on ActonTV soon. You can watch that at actontv.org. If people want more information about ChiroPro Performance Center in the Concussion Center of Massachusetts, what are the websites?
ChiroPro is chiroproperformance.com, and the other one is concussioncenterma.com.
Excellent. Well, we'd like to thank you for being a guest here on Business Matters. If you'd like to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce, you can visit the website at mwcoc.com. I'm George Cox. You've been watching Business Matters. We'll see you again next time.
The Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce would like to acknowledge and thank our broadcast sponsors, Emerson Hospital and the Westford Regency Hotels.